In today's Claude Masterclass, I'm going to show you how you can build your first AI co-writing system inside of Claude Code. And I'm going to give you every single tool, every resource that you need as a downloadable to do that and to get started. So as I said, Masterclass Claude Code for writing, how to build a co-writing system that scales. And this is super important because I think like 99% of people out there who use AI, when they hear Claude Code, they just see that second part of code and they think it's technical, it's for developers. And this is just simply not the case anymore. And if you're not using Claude Code for, everything outside of development for content operations and writing operations, you're totally missing out. It's like a million times more powerful than regular Claude AI, whether that's the web app or the website or the desktop app. And you're going to see that once you start using Claude Code for this type of work, it's going to unlock things you didn't even know were possible. I use it every single day now. It's like the backbone of all of my writing operations. So that's what we're going to do today. Give you the building blocks you need to start doing this. All right. So Claude Code for writing. Now, I broke down 5 main points of what we're going to learn today in this masterclass. The first is the concept, why context engineering beats prompt engineering. Then we're going to look at the setup, how to actually access and set up Claude Code. It's easier than it might sound. The architecture, we're going to look at the folders and the files and how they connect. Then we're going to look at the components, such as the Claude.md file, which is going to be like your system instructions, context profiles, which I'm going to explain, and Claude skills, which I'm going to give you. And then you're just going to see me building this from start to finish so you can follow along as well. Now, who is this for? Like I mentioned, Claude Code is not just for developers. So if you ever had that thought, get that out of your head right now. This is for anyone who needs to scale up or improve their writing operations and wants to use AI as a co-writer. And this can be newsletter creators, this can be anybody on Substack, Beehive, email marketers. We can do social media creators, business owners and CEOs, founders who might need to scale their voice. Professional writers, this is a big one. If you are a ghost writer or a tech writer or a content writer for a company, SEO, anything like that, you need to be using Claude Code. Like, you absolutely need to be using Claude Code, and you're going to make a ton of money. You're going to scale up your writing and improve the quality of it like you did not even know was possible. And then lastly, brands and teams. If you are a marketing team, a team at a startup, anything, you really should be comfortable using this to, scale up your brand's content and target the right ICPs, etc. So that's who this is for, and that's just a small list. This is really anybody who needs to, write with AI in any capacity. So if you take a look here, you can see this is kind of what we're going to build here. I'm going to show you all inside now after this, but what you're looking at here is Cursor, the tool I use, the coding tool I use, with Claude Code inside of it. And on the left, you can see the folder that I'm working in, which is basically my writing system folder. In the middle here, you can see actual Claude installed through an extension on Cursor, which I'll show you how to do, which is super simple. And here on the right is the markdown preview of what it is I'm working on. So in the screenshot here, this is actually me working in Claude Code, setting up this masterclass that you're watching right now. So, that's it. It's all connected in one way or another, right? Now, before I show you exactly how to set this up, I just want to cover a couple like really important points that I talk about all the time, but it's just so important because there's so much bad AI stuff out there, bad AI advice. There's a lot of bullshit, a lot of just bad prompt libraries, just all around bad AI use and advice. And we need to break that. And that's why I talk about it all the time, because honestly, with the amount of people, like, all right, if you think about it this way, there's already, if you're using AI in any capacity, you're already ahead of a lot of people who don't use AI, right? And then if you're using AI to write, you're even ahead of more people now, right? And if you are using AI with context at the same time, now you're getting ahead even more. And among all of those people, probably 99% of them are just using prompts. So if you stop using this traditional sense of like prompting your way through everything and start actually building a system, now you're like in the 1% of the 1% of AI users when it comes to writing operations, and you're going to stand out and you're going to go way ahead of them, because like me on Substack, on Twitter or X or YouTube or wherever it is I am, especially on like Substack and more written content platforms, there are so many people still sharing like crazy amounts of prompts and stuff that are just so like a year ago, like it's shit I was seeing a year ago that was useful, maybe 2 years ago. And now it's just like getting old. Like, you should not be doing that. But all right. So most AI writing fails, and it's not because the AI isn't smart enough, it's because it lacks context. If you're using a simple prompt for everything, that's why your AI is going to fail, not because it's not capable. A lot of people talk a lot of shit about how AI can't do this, can't do that. They just don't know how to use it correctly. So if any of these sound familiar, you definitely need to be building a system with Claude Code. If your output sounds generic, like everyone else using, ChatGPT, if you don't have any consistency between sessions, different voice every time, if you struggle with that, if you often have to edit, heavily or even edit at all, like if you have to do any serious amount of editing that takes up a lot of time, you shouldn't be doing that if you're looking for scaling up your production. If you're starting from scratch, always re-explaining who you are, what you're doing, this is a serious problem. You should not be doing that. And if you're playing on a, say, prompt roulette, hoping this prompt works better than the last, throw this prompt or that prompt, like, please just stop. You need to move past that, all right? The real issue is the AI doesn't know who you are, who you write for, or how you sound. Like, that's three of the key issues among many, many, many. But that's three of the fundamental issues that you cannot achieve without setting up a proper system, which Claude Code helps us do. So this little quote here, I kind of quoted myself. It's kind of bad, but I quoted myself here. You wouldn't hire a writer without showing them your past work, explaining your audience, and describing your style. So why would AI be any different, right? So that's applicable to anybody. If you're a founder or CEO and you hire a ghostwriter, you would obviously need to share samples of your work, your voice, your audience, describe all of that to them. Same thing if you're writing for a team, if you're a company or you're doing marketing or anything like that. You would not be able to hire on new team members, new content writers, new whatever, without explaining everything to them. So you cannot expect AI to just magically know all this stuff, all right? So what we're doing here is moving from prompting to systems, all right? So prompt engineering, this is a very simple, this obviously isn't a prompt here, but just for you to have an idea, it might look like something like this. Write a LinkedIn post about productivity, then you might have sometimes prompts can be a page, 2-3 pages long. There are some prompts that are really good. I'm not like 100% against prompts. I use them, I give them away, I sell them, but you need to know where a prompt should be used and where it shouldn't be used. So if you say, right here, write a LinkedIn post about productivity, write this in a more casual tone or a more business professional tone and do this and do that, you're just going to get generic output. You're going to get output, and guess what? You belong to that 99% who are publishing shit online that nobody likes to read, and it's not valuable, and it's just getting really annoying to read that as well. I'm sure it's getting very annoying to scroll on your feeds and see this over and over and over again. I don't even care anymore at this point. If I see something that I know is AI generated, I don't mind that at all. That doesn't bother me, right? Like you can even look at some of my writing and say, oh, that was generated AI. I use AI for writing. So my whole thing is teaching you how to use AI for writing. That's not the point. The point is it just provides no value, and it's just like this words that mean nothing, and that's what we don't want. So the problem's not writing with AI. The problem's not even people noticing something's written by AI. The problem is just not providing value. Well, context engineering changes that, right? Because context engineering, what we can do is load up things like our voice, our ICPs, our ideal client profiles, our skills, and then the output now is no longer based off of a prompt. Instead, it's all of this together. So it's writing in our unique voice, targeted to our unique audiences, using our unique skills. And that is where you start to provide value, even when using AI for writing. Okay, so that is also what we're going to be building here. The difference, prompt engineering, one-off prompts, you hope for good output. You don't have memory between chats, with some caveats there, like using projects and stuff. You often have to re-explain everything, or at least a lot of things, and you get inconsistent results. Well, context engineering, which is enabled by building something out in like Claude Code, we're going to get a persistent system, predictable output, memory built in, context always available, and a consistent voice, okay? And the formula really is context plus instructions equals quality output. Better input, better output every time. Simple as that. Now, what is context engineering? Context engineering can mean many things to many different people, depending on what it is you're working on. So somebody who might be a developer might have a different definition of what context engineering is to somebody like me who uses AI for writing. But for me and for us who are concerned with writing operations and scaling up with AI or co-writing with AI, context engineering to us is structured information, all right? We want to give a lot of organized profiles in context, not just long markdown files or just like we're not dumping everything into the AI. We're being very selective in pointing it into the right areas, and also making sure that when it gets to those areas, the information is structured in the most optimized way for whatever it is we're doing at that time. The second is persistent files. We want context that lives in our project. We want context that is always accessible, always available to the AI. We don't want to be surfing around for it, looking every time we're trying to, write something. The third is reusable instructions. These have been made so much easier with the invention of like Claude skills and things that we're going to talk about here. Our system instructions. We need skills and instructions that we write one time and we use it forever. We use it forever. We don't need to write a prompt or copy and paste a prompt every time. We give the AI access to the skill that is just reused all the time. And then lastly, system prompts, the rules that define how our AI operates, is super important as well. What is Claude Code? Claude Code now is what's going to enable us to build this system. And Claude Code is Anthropic's official agentic coding tool, but it's secretly perfect for writing systems. So do this now before everybody learns this, and everybody starts doing it. It's perfect for writing systems. This is what it looks like here inside of, for example, Cursor. You can, a lot of people think it looks like that terminal. You see a lot of people use Claude Code, and you see the little Claude Code robot-y terminal type stuff on people's computer, but if you just install an extension here in Cursor, it just looks like a regular Claude chat. It doesn't even look like coding. You forget that you're even in a coding environment. And why do we want to use Claude Code for writing? Well, first is it has file system access. It can read and write our files in the project we're working in. So we're just going to open a folder, and now Claude Code can literally run wild in this folder and do what we need it to do. And, a lot of people, like just before jumping on this masterclass, I saw somebody answer one of my Substack notes saying, oh, you don't, like they were kind of saying, you don't need to use Claude Code for everything. You could just use Claude Desktop with all of its integrations, because Claude Desktop, like the app you can just download on your desktop, is not Claude Code. We're talking just Claude Desktop, where you would be working in projects and stuff like that. They have extensions. You can hook up to MCPs. You can hook up to stuff like this, but don't get fooled. It's not the same thing as Claude Code. Number one, the MCPs I find are way more unreliable on Claude Desktop. It does not work smoothly like it works on Claude Code. Being like your connections, MCP, which is your connections to other tools, it does not work easily. But not just that, there's a big difference between having Claude in a folder, easily able to read like entire archives of our content, organize stuff, write stuff for us. It is so much more efficient if we're working with Claude Code inside of a folder. Also, the context window is way bigger. You're not going to run into problems like you do on Claude Desktop. So believe me, I would not be telling you to write in Claude Code and build all this in Claude Code if you could just get the same quality output in Claude Desktop. There would be no reason for me to do this. So you can believe, and my promise to you is that the moment that it becomes this easy to build somewhere else, I will bring that to you. But right now, Claude Code is the best place to do it. Secondly, persistent context. We have a Claude system file that can load automatically with every session. So every time Claude fires off and does something inside of your folder, it reads these system instructions first. We have skill discovery. We can upload in our folder Claude skills and allow Claude to autonomously invoke those skills as an agent whenever it wants or needs to. We don't need to copy and paste all over the place. We can work directly in our content. What happened here? And lastly, project-based. We can build out different projects with different systems. So I have a folder for myself. I have a folder for each one of my clients. I have folders which act as different projects, okay? All right, so now we're going to get into it. Let's start building this out now. Enough of the preliminaries. Now we build this out. How to access Claude Code? Like I said, it is a you can access it in various different ways, but I use Cursor, okay, an AI native code editor with built-in Claude Code support. But really, you can just access it in your terminal, integrate it with an editor, which I'm going to do. You can even access it online, which don't do because it doesn't work the same way that we're going to be doing here. So I highly recommend just downloading Cursor. It's free. And once you're in Cursor, you can install a Claude Code extension, which I'm going to show you right now, and it's going to make it look exactly like a regular Claude, okay? All right, so as for access, you can access it any of those ways. We're going to be using Cursor. And then what do you need, okay? So you can access it two ways. You can either use Claude Code with your Claude subscription, your regular Claude subscription, which I recommend, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Or you can use an API key and fire off with API costs, okay? Now, the problem with the API key is depending on how you use it, if you're not cautious, this can add up quickly. You can like blow through API costs, and I just don't like it. I use the API for other things, but when it comes to this, building my co-writing system, I much rather just connect it to my Claude subscription. And me, I use the highest max subscription on Claude, which is $200 a month. Now, this is not necessary if you don't write a lot or if you don't do a lot, but I'm imagining that if you're watching this video, if you're interested in building a system, it's probably because your career is somewhat built around writing operations, or you want it to be built around writing operations. And if that is the case, I do recommend just going for the highest plan you can afford, because look, at $200 a month, which is what I have, this gives me access to Opus 4.5, the highest model they have. I legit run Opus 4.5 all day long. I write 8 to 10 hours a day, every day. I write for myself. I run my entire content operation solo. I have multiple clients that I run these systems for, and I never hit my limit of Claude Code. So I pay $200 a month, but I can't even begin to tell you the return on investment I've gotten from that $200 a month. It's not even funny. I couldn't even put a number on it. Okay, so that's what I say. But they have other ones. They have the $20, the $100, $200. So you're just gonna have to make that decision about, what it is. You could start off low, see how it goes. But that's what I use. And when you first log into Claude Code on Cursor or whatever, it's gonna ask you if you want to use your subscription or your API key and just follow its instructions. It's super easy, okay? What we're gonna build a couple things here. We're gonna build a Claude.md system instructions. We're gonna build a context folder for who you are, who your brand is, a knowledge folder, and our Claude skills. All right. And this is what the folder structure is going to look like. I'm just explaining all of this for you before we get building. But you're going to see this is what the folder structure is going to look like. We're going to have Claude. We're going to have its skills. We're going to have context, knowledge, and Claude.md. This .claude folder is going to be a hidden folder, but we'll get into that. All right. Enough of this, actually. Let's just go. What you're going to do to get started right away is, for the paid members of my Substack community, you're going to have all of these resources available to you. So it's super easy for you to literally just download this file I'm going to give you and open it up in Cursor. If you're not a paid member, you're going to have to build it all from scratch. But if you're a paid member of my Substack, or if you want to come over and join us, you're going to get access to this Claude Code starter kit that I built for you, okay? And what you're going to do here is you're simply just going to download this zip file, and it's going to put this folder right on your computer, right? You can read through this Notion page here. It's going to give you all the information that we're going to talk about right here. But you're going to download this, all right? And what this is going to download for you is right here is a Claude Code starter kit, all right? This is literally all you need to get started. So I just bypassed all of that extra work you would have to do manually building each one of these folders, and now you can just use this. So you can rename it to whatever. I'm just going to keep it as Claude Code starter kit. You can name it as, mine's like Alex co-writing system. You can name it whatever you want. And what you're going to do is go into Cursor, and this is what Cursor looks like after you download it. And you're going to click open a project, and we're going to go to our downloads, and you're going to open this new folder I just gave you. And when you open this new folder that I just gave you right here in Cursor, you are going to see that I built out everything for you already. All these files I just told you about. We have the .claude hidden folder with my Claude skills inside of it. We have the context folder where you're going to have your 3 context profiles we're going to talk about. You're going to have a knowledge folder that I just have some placeholders here for you to put like content drafts, notes, but you can reorganize these folders however makes sense for you. And then we have our Claude.md system instructions, which I'm going to show you here, okay? And here, this is what Cursor looks like. We have on the left our folder. In the center, we have where we will have our chat, our terminal, etc. And on the right, this is their little agent, which I actually don't really use. So I'm just going to close this right now. And this is how we are going to start this out here, okay? Now, back to our little presentation. The .claude folder is a hidden folder that has all of Claude's important files inside of it. And included in these files are your Claude skills. So Claude skills are packaged expertise that you can package inside of a folder, formatted a certain way, and Claude can use that for really anything, right? So if you take a look at the screenshot here, this is what my personal system looks like. And these are some of the skills I have in my Claude folder. I have things like business profile creator, how-to guides, LinkedIn posts, LinkedIn profile optimizers, sales email sequences, thought leadership newsletters. I have so many skills, like so many. I have over 100 right now loaded up throughout for different things for Claude to do. And you can see that you also have an agents folder here, which is, we're not even going to touch the topic of agents today. That's for like the higher training program stuff we're going to talk about later. But you can eventually put agents inside of here as well, which you cannot do with Claude Desktop. So back to that point about somebody saying you could do everything in Claude Desktop. Well, you can't put agents in here like we're going to do, in the future. But these are all the skills here. You're going to have a couple to begin with. And the context folder is going to be where you put your context profiles. So if you know me by now, you know that I always talk about how important it is to make context profiles in JSON documents. So we're going to start with 3 here: a voice DNA, an ICP, and a business profile. I won't explain this again because I explained it so many times. Basically, what this is, a context profile is going to tell the AI, in a very optimized way, in a very optimized format, just context about your brand or whoever or whatever it is you want it to know about. So for us, I have 3 fundamental context profiles that every single one of you should use. It doesn't matter what industry you're in or what you're doing, you should probably be using these 3. And I'm going to give you prompts to create these 3. We need a voice DNA, the most important of all. This is what makes your AI sound different than every other AI, as best as you possibly can. And you're going to iterate on that, over time forever until you can really get the AI to sound how you want it to sound. An ICP, who you're writing for, who you're targeting, who your audience is, and a business profile, just a general look at what your business is so the AI can just have a quick understanding if it ever needs so. So that's what we're going to do with the context. The knowledge folder, which I showed you, where I put some placeholders there, like drafts and notes. You can organize this however you want, but this is exactly what it sounds like. It's Claude's AI brain, okay? You can put your entire archive of newsletters, your company's content, blogs, notes, voice notes, anything in there. That's like a whole other thing we could talk about later, but I'm going to leave that up to you to just set it up however you want, depending on whatever it is you do. And then we got the Claude.md file, which is a markdown file that sits in your project, which I'm going to show you is the system prompt. And Claude reads it automatically at every session. This matters because you don't need to paste instructions every time. It automatically loads it. We have persistent rules, context routing. We're going to tell it how it should work, the skills it should use, and we're going to read through that, okay? Inside of your Claude.md file, you're going to have a couple different things here, like your system identity, where it can find your different profiles, your context, workflow rules, and available skills. And here, we don't even need to look at this because I can show you exactly what it looks like. So take a break for a second and think about everything I just told you. So I showed you all the different files, and now you can see what it looks like actually built out here. We have our .claude file with our skills, as I told you. This is what a skill looks like. So this one, for example, is for Substack notes. Tells it how to write, for example, a Substack note. We have our context. So you would have like your business profile context in a JSON. You would have your voice DNA, all right? We have knowledge where you would put all your different content. And then we have our system instructions here, okay? I'll open this in like even preview so you could read it even better. But this is what our MD file looks like. So these are our system instructions for Claude. This one I'm going to give you in the starting kit tells Claude that you are my AI co-writer. Your role is to help me create high quality content that sounds like me and resonates with my target audience. All right. Now, as I mentioned before, Claude is going to read this every time. This is the most important thing that you have in this entire system because this is the instructions for how Claude works in your entire system. So you can always update this, always make it, iterate on it to explain your system. But for us, we're going to tell it it's our co-writer. We're going to break down the system architecture for it. We're going to tell it that we have context profiles about who I am, who I write for, what I offered, where they're stored. We have the 3 context profiles, a voice DNA, an ICP, a business profile. We're going to tell it that it has skills available to it, which are reusable instructions. These are stored in its .claude/skills folder. These are packaged expertise. So instead of explaining how to write something every time, these skills contain the instructions once and Claude can use it forever. Then I give it instructions on how to use this system. Before writing anything, Claude should read the relevant context profiles that are in our context, check for applicable skills in its skills folder, and then reference any past content in knowledge when relevant. All right. And you can change this third one here. If you don't have content, you can take that out. If you wanted to not reference content unless you tell it to, you could change that. For example, reference past content in knowledge when relevant and explicitly told to do so. You could put that in there, right? Then we're going to give it a writing workflow. When I ask you to write something, identify which context profiles matter for this task, read those to understand voice, audience, and business context, check if there's a skill for the content type, and if there's a skill, follow its instructions, and then this will produce content that matches my voice and serves my audience. We give it a guide of what our context profiles are, okay? We give it a skills guide of everything we have in there. We tell it where everything's at, we tell it what I expect, and we give it a quick reference guide. And this is just a template. You can adjust this based off of how you want to use it, and you can yourself ask Claude to adjust it whenever you need to, all right? So that's what our settings look like. So now we need to put Claude Code in here. And to do this on Cursor, if you come here, you could see that there's extensions. And you're going to want to download install this Claude Code for VS Code extension on Cursor, because this is just a really easier or like a smoother way of interacting. So you're going to install it and enable it. And once you do that, if you open up a new file here, I see other people sometimes have like a Claude button that they can click. I don't know if I don't have it or if I did something wrong, but here I'm going to click Claude Code Open. And then you can see Claude Code opens right here in my cursor. So it looks like Claude, it just looks a little different, but this is Claude Code here. And this is access to, it's running inside of our folders here, right? So for example, we could tell it we could tell it like, oh, write a Substack note or help me write a newsletter. It's not like, you could even be flexible with it. You can ask it for its advice. You can ask it for help, for brainstorming, or you could just target and tell it like, do this specific thing. And we'll see how all that works. But we need to finish setting up the system first, okay? To finish setting up the system, we need the context profiles. So as I showed you, we have the Claude.md file, which is the system instructions. We have the skills already in there, which I gave you, 2 free skills, a Substack note generator and a profile optimizer for your social media. And as time goes on, I'm going to be dropping more and more of those. But we gave it those skills. And now the last part that's really missing are the context profiles. And these are what power everything. And like I said, they're structured JSON files that give Claude deep knowledge about you, your audience, and your business. We have the core three we're going to do: the voice DNA, the ICP, and the business profile. Voice DNA. A voice DNA captures your tones, phrases, patterns, and personality in writing. But I created my own technique for making these voice DNAs in a very specific way, because what I found was that oftentimes AI, when I gave it a voice DNA, it just wanted to repeat the same type of words or phrases I would use. So I worked really hard, and still am working on iterating this. I always am working on it, on making it not focus so much on my words, but more on my like tone and my personality and who I am as a person and what I sound like, so that we could kind of break that of just using the same phrases all the time. So this is an example of what it might look like. We have like voice DNA, the core essence of who it is, an emotional palette, communication style. Then we have the ICP, who you write for, the problems, language, goals, and objections. And you can have a good idea of what that looks like here. We're going to tell it who it is we're writing for, the demographics, the experience, etc. And then business profile, just what we offer, positioning, differentiators, and it's all formatted in JSON for the AI to understand very easily. So how can you create these now to get your system up and running? You're going to use the creator prompts that I give you. You're going to run them in Claude and answer the questions, whatever it is it tells you. You're going to provide writing examples for your voice DNA. You're going to get structured content, and then you're going to save them. So here, what you're going to do is come to this starter kit here that I gave you in the beginning, where you could download the folder. And when you come down to the context section, you're going to see that I also included 3 prompts that you can use to build your context profiles. The first is a voice DNA creator prompt. You're literally just going to attach this prompt in Claude. You can use regular Claude. You can go on the regular website, the desktop, doesn't matter. You're just going to drop this prompt in Claude, and you're going to attach writing samples, or, you're going to write if you don't have any, and you're going to attach these samples and run that, and you're going to get a voice DNA. The second one is ICP. You're going to run this prompt, same idea, open a new chat, run this prompt. It's going to interview you. It's going to ask you questions about your brand. You're going to answer all these questions, and when it's done, it's going to output a profile for you. And the last one is a business profile prompt, which is going to the same idea. It's going to interview you, ask you some questions about your business. You're going to answer, and it's going to format this as a context profile. So once you get those, you're going to go back to cursor, and you are going to upload them into your context. So I went ahead and uploaded my personal ones that I just did up here, so we can practice with them. So you're going to see here, I have my voice DNA. You can see how big it is. This is my own Alex's voice DNA. I have my ICP, and I have my business profile. So we have that uploaded, okay? Now the skills, like we mentioned before, we have 2 in here that I gave you already. You can find these. There's repositories of skills. You can build your own. I offer some in my community in Substack. In the training program that I'm going to show you later, which takes this even to another level, you're going to get all my agents, all my Claude skills that I use in my daily work. But these are your skills. These are 2 that you can just start with. This is what it looks like. So a skill is specifically built for Claude. It's called a Claude skill, and it's a folder that looks like this, and it comes with this skill.md, the skill markdown file, and it has to be formatted in a certain way. So you can see that this one's for Substack notes, so it generates high-performing Substack notes, all right? And this is what it looks like here. And these can be invoked, which is what I'm going to show you at any point, all right? And then for knowledge, you would put your content like we mentioned. So let's just practice a little bit here so you can just get an idea of what this might look like. I'm going to use voice dictation now, and I'm just going to ask Claude, tell me what you understand about this system, your instructions, and my context. And that's it. It's just like talking to a regular Claude, but now it's Claude Code, and it has access to everything here, right? So I read through everything, and it knows now that based on its instructions, it's a co-writer. Its job is to produce content that sounds like me. It knows its system structure. It knows its workflow. It knows its expectations and whatnot. If you could explain my voice DNA, how would you explain it? Go look at the file. Let's just see if it can access the file so you can see. And here you can see that this is like a little bit of the different stuff you're going to notice in Claude Code. You can see what it's doing. So here it's reading my voice DNA. It read it. Here's how it's going to explain it. You're a 28-year-old founder who sounds like a friend showing something cool, not a guru selling transformation. You figured out how to use AI without creating garbage content, and you share what works with genuine excitement, not manufactured hype. All right. So that's just a cool way of seeing what it understands about you. Now, another really cool thing you might not notice that you probably didn't even know you could do in Claude Code is this will save here. You can access your chats, and you can open up multiple. So we're going to click this little plus in the top right, and now I can open multiple Claude Code chats. So I can be working on so many different things at once, right? And that comes in handy. So now what we can do basically is let's try a full writing like operation here. We're going to open up Claude Code again. We're going to open up a new Claude Code. And this time, let's go take a look at my Substack. And let's say we'll go with this article I have here. I'm going to copy it. This entire one I did on creating infographics with Notebook LM the other day. And you know what I want to do? I want to put this in let's say I want to put this in my drafts here. Okay. I'm going to open a new file here and I'm going to say newsletter 1. This is just a basic example. I'm going to paste it in there. All right. So we can either pretend here, I'm going to save it, that you're building out your content inside of here. So you have it saved or you just dropped it in, whatever. So let's say, I'm working in the system. I just finished a newsletter. I was talking to Claude. I was having help me write this newsletter. Here's a transcript I did of a video. Can you write the newsletter in my voice DNA, et cetera, et cetera. And now we have it saved into our drafts. So how this system can literally work is we can just tell it, hey, make me 20 Substack notes based off of my latest newsletter and save them somewhere. That's all we got to tell it. You don't even have to save it somewhere. You just tell it, hey, write me these notes. You don't have to prompt it. You don't have to do anything. And what it's going to do is it's going to invoke its skill to write the notes. It's going to look at its context profiles and it's going to do it all for you autonomously. So let's just tell it right here. Write me 20 Substack notes based off of my latest newsletter in your knowledge base. And we're going to tell it that. You're going to see it's thinking here. We're going to open it here. The user wants me to write 20 it's going to be a little hard to see here, but 20 Substack notes based on their latest newsletter. First, I should read the context profiles to understand their voice and audience. Then I should check the newsletter draft they have open. Then I'm going to use the Substack note skill if it's available. So it reads everything and then invoke the skill. You can see right here, the skill that it's using is this Substack note skill I showed you. It invoked it itself, and you have to give it permission every time it does stuff like this. So do you want to proceed with this skill? Yes. Now it's using the Claude skill to write the Substack notes. You see how you don't have to prompt anymore? You just do the system setup once and you never have to prompt again. So it's going to read the skill and then it's going to output the final product. So here's what it's doing. It's reading the skill. And now it just created 20 Substack notes for me like that. No prompting, just telling it to create me the skill based off of my newsletter. All right. It's going to keep doing it. And you shouldn't really even be scared about adjusting this folder. You can adjust it however you want. You can tell Claude to create folders for you, to delete stuff, to clean things up. So for example, all right, look, it created these 20 Substack notes for me, right? Now I can literally tell it, these are great. Create a Substack notes folder in my knowledge base and put all of these inside of it. And now Claude has access to this project. It can create folders by itself. So you're going to see, I'm going to close the thinking here just to get it out of the way, but it's working here. It's going to create a folder all by itself. Okay, so after literally like a second, you're going to see it's going to ask for permission, allow it to write these notes. I'm going to give it permission. It's going to create it. I'm going to come over here into my knowledge. And now you can see there's a new folder here for Substack notes. And you're going to click, and there's a file here of all my Substack notes that it just did. So you can literally work with Claude as your partner, as your assistant to organize things and whatnot. And here, if you don't like to look at things in native like Markdown, you can come to the top right and you can open previews, and you can see the preview in Markdown. So yeah, that's how you do that. That's how you set it up. That is a very simple way of setting up a writing system. I'm going to run through this to make sure I didn't miss anything here. We talked about the skills, how the skills work. So how the skills work, like I mentioned, very important. Claude will discover these skills automatically. Like you could tell it, like I could have told it like, hey, invoke your Substack notes skill to write it. But that's the beauty of it. You don't need to. It's an agent. It knows how to autonomously invoke those. All right. And do it all by yourself. Skills you can create. These are like skills I have. You can create Substack notes, LinkedIn posts, email sequences, how-to guides, sales pages, Twitter threads, newsletters, anything else. Anything you can think of. If you can write it, you can skill it. And then just for you to really just visualize this one more time, because I know sometimes it could be difficult visualizing that inside of a folder. So I tried to do many slides just visualizing this. You ask Claude, write a Substack note. Claude.md system instructions. It's going to define the rules. It's going to understand its task. It's going to look at context profiles to understand your context, your business. It's going to look at what skills it has available to write it, invoke that if it has it. And then in the end, you're going to have output that sounds like you or your brand, that's targeted at your audience, that is using expertise, skill to do so. All right. And your new workflow becomes as simple as that. Open your project. Claude loads the MD file automatically. Ask for content, like write a LinkedIn post about this, write a Substack note about this, help me do a newsletter. And I'm showing you very simple, use cases. listen, you can expand this out. We're talking, I do this for all my newsletters, for all my content operations, for SEO, like really complex SEO work I do inside of here. If you're somebody who does technical papers, white papers, I don't even know, government papers, consulting, anything like that, like this, it's all possible. Claude is going to read the context, it's going to use its skills, and you're going to get the output. And that's it. You can keep building this now forever. Keep building on top of it and whatnot. All right. So just to wrap this class up, this masterclass, what we covered: the concept, context engineering beats prompt engineering. You need to build a system, not one-off prompts. The architecture, we have the Claude.md file, the context profiles, and the skills. These all equal your co-writing system. The profiles give us consistent outputs, tell the AI who we are, what we do, and the skills give it packaged expertise. Okay. Your starter kit is here. For my Substack members, for my paid members, your starter kit is here. You can download this file. You can open this folder right in on your computer and just kick it off right away. There's no need for you to start writing everything from scratch, to start experimenting. You're going to get access to all of this, create your context profiles. It's really simple. The thing I can tell you is I can sit here all day and teach you about it and talk about it, but there's nothing more valuable than just getting this damn folder, opening it up in Claude Code, and just start messing around with it. And it doesn't matter, just test it out. If your first whole system comes out and it's shit, it's not working like you want it to, which I highly doubt that's going to happen, but if it happens, delete it, download the folder again, start again, keep trying it out. That's the most valuable way you can learn. And like I said, now, as for my Substack, if you're not familiar with it, we have the free tier where you're getting like this video masterclass plus some limited content. The paid Substack, it's only $20 a month, and you get access to all of this, the tools I'm talking about, the resources I'm talking about here, all of my weekly guides, my how-to guides on Substack. And then coming down right here really soon, the doors are closed right now, but it's the co-writer system, which is my high-ticket training program, which I've already ran version 1, but now version 2 is in the works, based off of building your entire writing system inside of Claude Code. Think of everything you just learned right now, but scaled up 20 times, and me handing you all of my personal operations. Like I'm going to give you everything here. My actual MD file, which is multiple pages long. I'm going to give you all the agents, which we haven't even talked about today, but you can create agents inside of Claude Code, actual agents that I have 5 or 6 running for me right now that I'm going to give you the exact same agents for you to put in yours. Every single one of my skills, my entire Claude skill library, which is, numerous skills, context profile skills to build. Instead of using a prompt, you can use a skill to do it. Step-by-step builds along with me, and exclusive community access to other co-writers who are working building these systems. All right, so check that out. I'm going to drop the waitlist below as well. Make sure to sign up for that. That's coming real soon. I'm working on recording all of it, finishing it all up. It is the AI co-writing system. Sign up for that. Share, comment on this, share it with anybody who you think needs to be building a writing system. Drop any comments below. Let me know any questions you might have. Answer any newsletter. You know where to find me.